And good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, July 23rd. Looking at the impact map for today, a lot of impacts. We'll try to break them down. Still continuing with the very hot weather, near record heat in a lot of areas. Also, isolated thunderstorms. You can see these dots through here, a mixture of wet and dry, a little wetter to the south, a little drier to the west. Still kind of a mixed bag. Now, for tomorrow, we still have those thunderstorms. You do notice the storms getting wetter across the higher terrain of much of Utah. See the heat being confined down to far southeast and northwest portions. We also have increasing winds of near or above 30-mile-an-hour gusts across western Nevada and parts of the central mountains of Idaho, where we do have some large fire activity. Those winds continue on Tuesday up in the north. Scattered to actually moderate coverage of thunderstorms across the eastern Great Basin, but getting wetter with hopefully less IA as we go towards the middle of the week. Looking at the last 24 hours, you can see the lightning on the left-hand side, definitely concentrated more in Nevada. You can see the precipitation fairly light in most areas. Some pockets of low-end wetting rain where you see the light blue color. Looking at initial attack, new fire starts in the red. Recent fires in the yellow open circles indicate larger fires and or team fires. So you can see that activity up here in Idaho. Had over 1,000 acres down here in parts of right along the Utah-Nevada border. Also up north of Boise, so things are picking up. It's been fairly dry. Actually, this is observed precipitation for the last 7 days. On the left, you can see very little across a good portion of Idaho, and it's only these areas here in the northeast corner of Nevada and some spatterings across the higher peaks of the central Great Basin that had some wetting rains. Otherwise, just fairly light. And actually, this caption should read percent of normal. You can see above normal precipitation, we see the bluish shades and purplish shades, but below normal to near 0%, where you see the dark red. Starting to get reflected in our fuels. Severe fire danger mapping system combination of burning index and ERC. Yellow is the high threat. Orange is the very high. You can see where the most critically dry areas are across the region. We can break it down even further by PSAs. And actually, this one here, the central Idaho mountains, is up here. And you can see that it's tickling the 90th percentile. Very dry there. It's been sneaking up on us last couple of weeks. And down in South Ely, you can see that they also went up. They got knocked down a little bit with some showers, staying still up drier than normal, but starting to shoot back up towards the 90th percentile. Arizona Strip also hovering at the 90th percentile and right at near record dry levels for them. On the live fuel moisture, kind of a mixed bag. Up here, this is national, up in far northern Nevada. The sagebrush, pretty high, about 175, 180. Normally, it has to get below this dash line, 150, to stop impeding fire progress and get closer to 100% to really consume as part of the fire environment. You can see we're well a ways from that. But other areas on the same latitude, you don't have to go too far east. And in Rosebud, you can see what a precipitous drop we've had in our sagebrush moisture. Below 150, it's probably more like 125 and just about ready to start consuming fully. Satellite imagery shows the Four Corners high in its Four Corners place. That is starting to get the monsoonal process organized. We're about a month behind schedule. You see these spokes of moisture starting to rotate northwards. This will be the impetus for our shower and thunderstorm activity. Driest air in northwest Nevada and up in western Idaho. So for today, there's the Four Corners high. There's the clockwise rotation around that isobar. And there's the spokes of moisture starting to rotate up. Not really deep moisture in some areas. So in these areas here, we have issued high risk for parts of southwest Utah and southeastern Nevada, where some higher terrain could help the convective process to develop thunderstorms. Doesn't mean we won't have lightning in other areas or starts, but this is the best place to see the highest concentration of lightning combined with the dry enough fuels to get fires to grow fairly rapidly. Let's look at relative humidity. Again, anywhere from upper single digits to mid-teens in just about all areas. Driest in northwest Nevada, also southeast Utah. Winds, moderately breezy, not really a big issue yet. Some of these little circles you see here are just brief outflow boundaries this afternoon from nearby thunderstorms. Also of note, we had high risk for temperatures. Again, you see 101 in Boise, 102 in kind of near Wendover, 105 near Salt Lake, even 101 here in Twin Falls, 102 Boise, 111 Vegas, so just hot. And on the right-hand side, you see where we are expecting precip. This is 24-hour precipitation ending midnight tonight. And these little dots you see here, this dotted pattern or streaky pattern, that's a dry lightning signature, which indicates that there won't be a lot of rainfall in one particular spot. Some exceptions may be a little more consolidated over the Uintas. The orographics tend to favor that. Maybe a little bit wetter up here in far south central Idaho. We go to tomorrow on the left. Notice the moisture becomes a little bit more consolidated, has more of a connective train down through Arizona into Mexico. That's kind of how the monsoon process gets going. We haven't issued high risk for lightning because the humidity may come up and the storms may get a little wetter, but we have high risk for wind, both in northwestern Nevada and up into parts of the higher terrain of central Idaho mountains. And here's why. There's the winds picking up through here. Also up here in the Idaho mountains, not particularly strong. I would say maybe more on the range of 20 to 30 miles an hour. The relative humidity, though, that is, again, bone dry in northwest Nevada. Starting to come up here in southern Utah, 23%, 21%. That's why we're kind of holding off on the high risk for lightning. You see the precipitation getting a little more consolidated, more of that lime green color. That's about 0.16 to 0.32 inches of rain. Storms may be a little wetter. They'll be drier further west. We'll have to watch some of the stuff in central Nevada. But overall, things should be getting a little wetter. Tuesday, there is the pattern once again, the moisture rotating through. We have very little of this tannish shade in our area. So the air mass will be moistening up from south to north. You can see the 7-day kind of reflects that. We still have some wind concerns through here. You can see the winds out here as well. And you can see the wind pattern lingering through here in parts of central Idaho mountains and eastern Idaho. So I'll have to watch that. The humidities will be coming up there a bit, mid to upper teens. So not bone dry, but just something I have to watch since we have large fire on the ground there already. 3-day precipitation totals, definitely more moist across the eastern Great Basin, lesser amounts to the west. And going further down the road, Wednesday, Four Corners High actually stays there, maybe shifts a little bit further eastward. We stay hot, but we stay on the humid side. Still a high risk for wind up here in the central Idaho mountains, still stuck by that front where these tight packing of the height lines are. Similar pattern, I'll have to watch. It could be breezy up there all week long. Drier air starts to move in by Friday. See moisture through here. And by Saturday, you see that moisture not just explode over western Colorado, eastern Utah, but connecting all the way through Arizona and all the way through northern, even central Mexico. This is the monsoon, fully organized and how it looks like a connected train from south to north. We're about a month behind schedule, but it's finally fully there. See a bit more yellow on our eastern areas in our 7-day. 7-day total precipitation. There's the monsoonal train of precipitation. Heavy stuff in the blue. Moderate, where you have the dark green to some blue going into the Mogollon Rim. And through us, still maybe just lighter amounts, but could start getting heavier in time. And it's forecast to do that on the right-hand side. Precipitation above normal for a good portion of the area. So that could take the edge off of fuels in some spots. It remains hot, though, temperature-wise. And this concludes our briefing. Have a good day.